Welcome to Veterans Medals Workshop, sponsored by Medals of America and Medals of America Press. I'm Frank Foster, your host, and today we want to talk about the medals and insignia of the Republic of Vietnam and her allies. About 25 or 30 years ago, it's getting a little hard to remember now, John Sylvester and I wrote the first complete guide to South Vietnamese orders and decorations and medals. It was a very good book. It's been sold out now for 10 or 12 years, and unfortunately we could only afford at that time to print it in color and black and white. The good news is we have a completely new book, The Medals and Insignia of the Republic of Vietnam and her allies, 1950 to 1975. It's in full color, and it covers every military medal and every civilian medal issued during the 25 years of the Republic. It's available for you on Amazon. So if you want a piece of history, it covers all of the medals awarded to both the Vietnamese, American, and Allied personnel during the 25 years of the Vietnamese War. This is your book. So let's take a walk through it. Be glad to show you what it looks like. During its short and tragic history, the Republic of Vietnam faced the usual problems of a newly independent nation, compounded by armed communist assault. Its armed forces were in combat during most of the Republic's life, at times with valor and success, but in the end, not with victory. The United States, aided by others, came to the defense of the Republic of Vietnam in an intervention that in the end failed. American forces lost no battles, but the cost grew too high in blood, money, and politics. Vietnamese, American, and Allied armed forces personnel and many civilians received medals for their service in the war. Orders, decorations, and medals are the symbol of courage and merit. They are also perhaps enduring fragments and mementos of history. Your book is intended to illustrate and describe all of the awards of the Republic of Vietnam, and it also includes those of the Allies for the war, along with the pertinent French and local ones. And this includes short histories relevant to each one of the medals and other information that puts them in context. For example, early French Indochina Medal has a dragon used to represent Vietnam at the top where it joins the ribbon. The other symbols on the medal, in this case, Naga, the seven-headed cobra, represents Cambodia, and the three-headed elephant represents Laos. The book opens with a short history of the state in the Republic of Vietnam and the process that led to the loss of the South, written by the eminent historian and medalist John Sylvester. The book then opens with the procedures for wearing the Republic of Vietnam medals for the Republic of Vietnam Armed Forces personnel and describes the medals in both English and in Vietnamese. The first presentation is the 5 classes of the National Order of Vietnam and includes the background of the French Legion of Honor and the Order of the Dragon of Oman, from which it was evolved. Next comes a really neat section, which is a series of color plates that lay out in the correct order of precedence all of the military awards and gives a reference number where you can go to the page for where each one is described in detail. For example, starting on this right-hand page, the description of the National Order is given in detail. This is followed by detailed descriptions of all of the medals and their variations, starting with the Military Merit Medal and followed by the Army Distinguished Service Order, the Air Force Distinguished Service Order. The thing that makes the book really unique is, for example, on the Army Meritorious Service Medal, it shows a version made in America that has the wrong ribbon on it. So that if you're really interested in these medals or collecting them, it shows you the right variation and the wrong variation. The pages on the Army, Navy, and Air Force Gallantry Crosses show a lot of detail to include how it evolved from the French Croix de Guerre, the Vietnamese examples, American-made examples, to include miniature examples and unit citations. Wherever possible, Vietnamese and American variations of the same medal in miniatures and ribbons are shown, and for example, on this wound medal, this would never be awarded to Americans who would receive the Purple Heart instead. When you get into the Vietnamese medals that were fairly commonly awarded to American military personnel, wherever possible, we try to show both the first class and second class variations, the Vietnamese medals, the American-made versions, and even, if possible, a copy of a certificate. I don't think you can find this anywhere else in the world. Another surprise you'll get when you take a look at the Vietnamese campaign medal, it'll make you realize when you look at the attachment on the top, it says 1949 to 1954, it really impresses on you that the Vietnamese were fighting this war for 25 years. What's also unique is when you get to the section on military service medals and the Air Service Medal and the Navy Service Medal, it shows you all three variations of a Navy Service Medal. When you get to the final four campaign medals, one of the really unique ones is the Air Force Northern Expeditionary Medal that was done in 1966. It's a legal medal, but it's very rarely awarded, and it shows both the Vietnamese-made version and an American-made version. And I have begun to point out that the rarity of each one of these medals is also rated in the book. And this particular medal, the Air Force Northern Expeditionary Medal, has a rarity of R10, the rarest of all Vietnamese-made ones, if you can ever find one. Let me interrupt for just a moment and say, if you're enjoying this video, please give us a like, or even better, please subscribe. Okay, let's get on with it. So after all of the military awards are shown, the Republic of Vietnam Civilian Medals has its own section and goes into great detail on each one of the civilian medals and follows the same format that we talked about before. A series of color plates that show the correct order of precedence, and then individual descriptions of each one of the medals. For example, here, the Police Merit Medal, which a number of military policemen may have received. The Vietnamese civilian medals, the Hamlet Common Defense Medal, is rated R9, probably one of the rarest of the civilian medals that anyone could ever find. It was authorized back in 1963, and I don't think that there may be half a dozen versions of it left in the world. And that brings us to another really unique section of the book, which I do not believe is available anywhere else, and that is the medals of the Allies: France, United States, Thailand, Korea, the Commonwealth of the Philippines, and Australia. There are beautiful color plates, this one showing the earlier medals awarded during the Vietnam Wars, and then they are followed by a detailed explanation of each one of the medals. We may have been a little enthusiastic going back to the Order of the Dragon of Iron, which was awarded by the Emperor, but then we go into all of the French medals, the War Cross for overseas service, the Colonial Medal with all of a different class, the Indochina Medal, and then the Medal for the Wounded. There are a number of variations of this medal, and it's all explained here in the book. And there's an overview color plate for all of the United States medals awarded for the Vietnam War, to include even the Merchant Marine, and detailed explanations of each one of these medals, going for civilian, Armed Forces Expeditionary Humanitarian Service, and even the Colorado National Guard Active Service ribbon. The Commonwealth Campaign Service medals for the Australia and for New Zealand, as well as the Vietnam Logistics and Support Medal, are shown. And then there are the medals that describe the service medals for Korea, the Thailand, the Philippines, Nationalist China, as well as the three medals issued to the International Commission for Supervision and Control medals going back to 1967 and 1973. And that brings us to a unique section of the book that shows us some of the uniforms of the armed forces, the rank insignia, the hat brass, and the shoulder sleeve insignia of the Army Republic of Vietnam, the naval forces, and the Air Force. And the Vietnamese names of each one of the insignia is explained in English below. Then pictures of unique original shoulder sleeve insignia for different units of the Vietnam Army, Air Force, and Navy are shown, as well as insignia such as parachute badges, rank badges, just a representation, and then certificates that go with the different medals. Comparisons of Vietnamese-made medals with U.S. medals is shown, as well as some of the things that are done wrong, And then in a really unique section, it takes a look at the miniature medals. It shows French miniature medals, Vietnamese miniature medals, some of them on the original cards, and a comparison of a Vietnamese miniature medal with one made by a U.S. manufacturer. Thank you for joining us today on our review of a new book, The Medals and Insignia of the Republic of Vietnam and Her Allies. If you've enjoyed the show, please give us a like. Even better, you can subscribe. We really appreciate that. And don't forget, it's available for you on Amazon, and one of the best things I've done lately. See you at the next one.